these figures are a result of a survey that was conducted between March the 1st and March the 14th last month. So this is before any lockdown. This is before the stand down of Qantas employees. This is before all of the restrictions that have led to the closures of businesses. This is before the long queues we saw at each Centrelink office that was occurring late March. So we have to be very mindful of that. The unemployment figures today are not a reflection of today's unemployment, but a reflection of something that goes beyond a month ago. And that's important to note. What's also important to note is we have, as I say, IMF forecasting that will be a smaller economy at the end of next year, and unemployment will continue to rise and will be higher next year than this year. Now, that's why it's important to note when the Reserve Bank made clear to the government before the bushfires and before COVID-19 that we needed to stimulate the economy, to tackle underemployment, to tackle low growth and low productivity, there needed to be something done then. Unfortunately, the government chose not to act then. Now, we welcome, of course, the government finally agreeing to a wage subsidy package. That wage subsidy package should have been enacted in the first Parliament sitting. It waited, of course, 2 weeks after that. But there are concerns about the design of the package, and it's important to mention those. Firstly, the package is too narrow in its application. There are over 1 million casuals in this country who will not be in receipt of that wage subsidy. That means that those workers will be unemployed, most likely, and those businesses who employ those workers may not survive as a result of the failure to not receive any wage subsidy. So the first thing we would say to the government, that they should indeed broaden the application of the JobKeeper package. It should include 1 million Australians who are casually employed in order for them to stay connected to the labour market, in order to protect and support those businesses who require that support so that they can continue. We'd ask the government to do that. Now, we've already convened the Parliament, we passed the legislation, but the legislation provides the Treasurer to change the application to apply to those casual workers, and we would ask the government, indeed ask the Treasurer, to use his powers that have been provided to him by way of the Parliament to broaden the application to cover those workers. Otherwise, unemployment is going to go up and up and up. Now, we know the government was not interested in a wage subsidy when we first sat in March. In fact, the government insisted that it did not have to happen, and in fact closed down the Parliament for 5 months without any wage subsidy package enacted. We welcome the fact that the Prime Minister and the Treasurer changed their mind, listened to Labor, listened to the ACTU, to unions, to employer groups, to economists, and ultimately provided a package for our consideration. We moved amendments in the Parliament to broaden the application to cover casuals and temporary workers. That did not succeed. Whilst we welcome the package, it is too narrow. And the other point I have to make, and the IMF makes clear, is that this package ends on the 30th of September. Now, the Prime Minister believes there will be a snapback, as he calls it, to the economy. The IMF does not share that view. And frankly, Labor does not share that view that the economy will snap back as a result of the package lasting only until the 30th of September.